Be a visionary with debonair, a playa from the Himalayas, iconic, not ironic, and become a night owl tonight, where like-minded members get together at the Night Owl Lounge, enjoying extra content, backstage hangouts, exclusive interviews by going to realdealmedia.tv/membership. Again, that's realdealmedia.tv/membership. Join tonight.
Good evening, everybody. With this Real Deal Media late night update, I'm your late night host, Dean Ryan, with some incredibly exclusive intel to share with the Real Deal Media audience all over the world. Believe it or not, 40%, if not 50%, of the people who watch all of our shows here, well, guess what? A lot of them are scattered throughout Europe, in the greater continent of Australia, and all over the place. However, the difference is we're all focused on the United States, the Middle East, and Ukraine right now. And tonight, that's exactly what we're going to be just delving into, as I have exclusive news regarding the future of Zelensky. I have the intel from our EU insider Forseti, straight from Helsinki, Finland, from the upper echelons of the EU and NATO cabinets. Just exactly what the future holds for not just Europe, but the United States, as the next shoe to drop is going to be cataclysmic, many have said, and that's why tonight's episode is called Nuclear to Midnight. So we're going to be just diving into that, what Putin is now saying, and what the generals of virtually every European military outpost is thinking, saying, and trying to do in the name of war crimes. You're going to hear it here first, exclusive, nobody else knows. You're going to hear it from our very own Forseti, from his message to all of us. So we're going to be getting into that. Plus, later in the second half, just some domestic political Illuminati rituals once again have come to fold. You'll be seeing that before we get out of here. But real quick, let's get to a few headlines from around the late night world here. Let's just dive right into it, as tonight's show is a quick, fast version of an accelerating nuclear war that's now pending. Well, yes, let's get to it here. As now Germany, their military is now readying for a new war with Russia. Classified documents revealed. Yes, this is coming out of Natural News. Let me tell you a bit more about it. A secret document called Operation Plan Germany has now gone public, showing the Bundeswehr, Germany's armed forces, is now preparing for a new war with Russia. Yes, indeed. the new Bundeswehr launched a nationwide initiative to train German businesses in how to prepare for the coming crises, which sounds as though it will be coming in the form now of a full-scale military escalation between Germany and Russia. Oh, yes. Well, the 1,000-page document outlines strategic steps now that Germany can take to defend its critical infrastructure, maintain its national security, rising tensions with Moscow over the situation, and also maintain that all their migrants who are raping and pillaging the entire country remain safe and out of harm's way. Well, Germany's going to try to bolster its economic resilience as part of this plan now, which is a tall order considering the economic powerhouse of Europe no longer has access to cheap, abundant energy from Russia. Yeah, they cut that off. The Nord Stream pipeline, we all know that. So German businesses are also preparing for war. The Hamburg Chamber of Commerce recently hosted a seminar for local businesses to teach them how to take proactive measures to protect themselves once the fighting really gets going. So do we understand what this means? All of Europe right now is preparing for nuclear holocaust. If you were to step outside in any city, USA right now, you would think that we're just reeling the fatigue of an election season when we should be really preparing for war of all kinds. And you're going to understand shortly. Here's another one here as we now dive further into Ukraine. In Zelensky, the Mossad asset. Well, let me tell you about this now. Ukraine strikes a Russian military installation in Bryansk. And just one day after Biden authorizes now the use of U.S.-made long-range ATACM missiles. Oh, yeah. This is getting very hot, hostile by the hour. Well, Vladimir Zelensky's regime is wasting no time bombing Russia with U.S.-made long-range missiles, which has been approved for use in Russia-Ukraine war by the alleged President Joe Biden, whoever that may be. Roughly one day after Biden authorized Ukraine to use the MGM-140 Army tactical missile systems deep within the Russian territories, blatantly crossing President Vladimir Putin's famous red lines. Kiev was already sending missiles to blow up military installation in Russia's western Bryansk region. Wow. Well, here's a spokesperson, Dmitry Peskov, responding to Biden's authorization of long-range missiles used by Ukraine by warning Moscow is now free to respond with nuclear weapons if it decides the best route to take to protect its interests. Now, here's a quote. The use of Western non-nuclear rockets by the armed forces of Ukraine against Russia can prompt a nuclear response, Peskov said. Oh, yeah. And you're going to hear about that. Just to show you what I'm talking about, I want to show you this. I want to show you this map here. And then we're going to hear from our very own Forseti here, who gave us an exclusive, important message that is so needed. And it's coming out of the highest ranks of the EU right now. Let me show you this. This is all the talk of the deep state, their maps. Some of this is in Russian, so just bear with me, but you can see the legend on the right. This is what we're talking about. They're setting up forces now. They, as in NATO, EU, in Ukraine, I guess the proxy. It's a Norco state, kind of like Mexico, but that's another story. Well, here it is. Let's have a look at this. This is the rockets that flew 140 kilometers, hit a target over there in Russia. This means that the strike permit applies not only to the Kerch China, as the Western media wrote about. This is an attack also showed that the air defense of the Russian Federation will have big problems with Ukrainian missiles. So here it is. Here's Russia over here, as you can plainly see. Here's Ukraine. They shot a missile. It hit this area, and they're getting closer and edging closer and closer to Moscow, as the doomsday clock could not tick any louder than it is now. Ladies and gentlemen, what you're about to hear now is exclusive intel from behind the highest ranks of the EU and NATO and what they're planning. This is going to cover, and I'm going to give you some post-analysis of what you're about to hear. This is going to be covering what to expect come January. Come January, they want to go as close to the inauguration to prevent Trump coming in. You're going to hear about that. You're also going to hear about what the generals of a unified Europe behind the scenes are trying to do to Zelensky to prevent this, and what the Democrats, the nasty globalist Democrats are planning to do, not just this come January, but they're already plotting to thwart any J.D. Vance possibilities of a presidential run for 2028. This is war in real time, and it's unbelievable that none of the big media is covering this. Check this out. This is our very own European insider, Forseti, telling us the scoop. Here it is.
The DNC, military industrial complex, all that stuff, all the big stuff. All the globalists want the war to continue, and they tried to spark World War III towards the end of Biden's tenure to try and stick Trump with the fallout of said war. So Trump's administration will flounder, and when J.D. Vance runs in the next election, this war situation was looming over them, where the Democrats think that they can swoop in and win. You know, commies going to be commies. And the rest of Europe right now is in a teetering peak situation of they don't want the war to escalate. They don't want a World War III. But they're powerless against America to stop it. It's even got to the point now where the Nordic Europeans and non-Europeans such as Norway, Sweden, Finland, Estonia, Denmark are meeting with Russian diplomats about ending the trade barriers, trade situations they have, and trying to have a good relationship with Russia, hoping to prevent World War III. It's getting quite messy, and they're trying to do a spin. Sweden has started sending out like duck and cover leaflets to its citizens to try and scare them, but they've got an election coming up, so they just want to seem like they're strong against Russia. That's what that is, nothing to really worry about. But it's basically the entire of Europe is shitting their pants because the commies in America are trying to get everybody nuked. And all the farmers' protests, such as in the Netherlands and the rest of Europe and now England, have been caused because governments are the governments that are infected by communists, such as England's government, the Netherlands government right now, they're trying to get the farms via bureaucracy under state control so they can implement famines. Pretty much every correct-minded general and military organisation in Europe wants President Zelensky to get the Saddam Hussein treatment, be demonised and hung as a peace offering to Russia. So Zelensky's obviously shitting his pants because at the end of it, either Ukraine gets nuked or there's a surrender, and he is hanged for war crimes. Now, here's the thing that's really going to blow your mind. All democracy has been corrupted, so it doesn't matter who you choose. Every side is run by communists. The people who control the parties have been subverted by communists. Doesn't matter what country you're in, what affiliation you are, it's all communists at this point. So, the true people who are trying to get us away from communism are outside of the diplomatic route, so you can't vote your way out of this.
Let's review what we just heard here. That was a stunning revelation from our very own RDM European insider. There is that there are generals now underway throughout Europe who have band together to try to arrest Zelensky and offer Zelensky, after they charge him with war crimes, offer him up to Putin as a peace treaty. And this also comes on the heels of information we shared with you months ago from our very own Forseti about how the same generals and a lot of these guys exist in the UK military have tried to negotiate with Putin, who's had peace treaties on the table for the last 2 years, to give him Finland, let his army take over, and knock NATO over. This is some of the negotiation. Now, in addition to that, you might have heard as well as the farmers' protest. Well, now that's underway, as we reported to you just last night. Massive amounts of protesting in London right now from farmers, with all the tax hikes, with all the regulation hikes, the corporatism and takeover. Well, now we know exactly what they're doing. They're taking a page right out of Mao Zedong's playbook from the Great Leap Forward of China from 1949 onward, which really is going to create the artificial famine. They want to control the people, as Kissinger said, control the food, control the people. This is exactly what Steimer, the Prime Minister of UK, is doing, the exact Communist Manifesto outline. So we don't have to guess, second guess, third guess, or even try to psychically ponder how this is going to look, meaning what Forseti said, there's no diplomatic means out of this. There's no voting your way out of a rigged global corporate communist system. We're headed for war outside of this, and that's who Putin's fighting right now. He's fighting the old world order of the 20th century, and here we are. And here we are. Now, let me tell you some more things. This is some stunning things here. Is now in a 24-hour news cycle, there's more to share with you. We'll get this now. Well, now we let's bring it back and ring it into domestically now. If you haven't heard, Trump has just announced Howard Lutnick will be the Commerce Secretary. Many experts have said this is one of the biggest, also in addition, revelations to come in the recent appointees. Why that is, because Lutnick speaks about eliminating the income tax and fund the government solely through tariffs, like Trump has been hinting. The income tax has been the biggest financial slavery system and outpost since its just kind of conception of the 1930s. This would be a huge boost to the economy. A lot of revenue people say will be lost, but will be lost to the bureaucrats. This would be a revolutionary domestic side that other countries would follow. Continuing also to share with you, Donald Trump has now announced, as you heard, Dr. Oz to serve as administrator. A lot of people were worried because he was a big pusher of the miracle jabs and the MMR. Maybe he's come to realize mistakes and senses, but many people said he's going to re-examine and recarve all of Medicare and Medicaid. That's huge. Now, continuing now, new ballots coming 14 days after the election day. California's 13th congressional district have now cut Republican John Duarte his lead from 1,500 votes to just 227 votes, and could lead the Democrats to winning another House seat. Cheating smells. Continuing here, and I really want to share this with you here, is we're going to get back into Ukraine because it's just weighing on my mind, but now it's now being reported that in the last minute now, Vladimir Putin has reportedly opened to ceasefire discussions with Ukraine if negotiations are led by Donald Trump. This is coming from the leading report news outlet. It would make all the sense in the world in that case. In addition to that, I can also share with you that a report to Congress on Section 508 of the Ukraine Security Supplement Appropriations Act of 2024. I'm going to put this on your screen so you can see this with me. It's all coming out right now, and it's better we get this on record before things go really haywire. As Zelensky, they're going to have this guy swinging from a tree. He's going to be tried now for war crimes. Now, also, try to imagine what you're seeing here in Ukraine. Mirror that to what's happening in Israel with Netanyahu. Netanyahu, Zelensky, both Mossad assets. Although Netanyahu, which is his fake last name, he's really from Poland, he's going to be on the flee and on the run as well. But here's what we're going to be checking out. Let me tell you all about this now. Well, what you're seeing here is a report submitted to Congress. Now, the act requires an arrangement with the government of Ukraine relating to the repayment by Ukraine to the United States of economic assistance provided to Ukraine. That's one of the big new acts that seems to be coming out now, or it's being prepared to be implemented in the new administration. Continuing, consistent with Section 50CD, November 15, 2024, so this is all rather new, the U.S. government intends to cancel 50%, which is roughly $4.65 billion of the total indebtedness incurred by Ukraine, or anticipated by incurred by Ukraine with respect to economic assistance related to expenses. So there seems to be a major effort, as you can read there on your screen, of getting a lot of this money back. So there is some major effort on that front, and we're talking probably a lot more than $4.6 billion. That's how big this is. That's how big this is. Continuing here. So to share that with you, now I want to share this with you. We're going to get back to some more domestics here because there seems to be a lot of celebritons. Everybody seems to be fleeing the United States right now who is a quote unquote Hollywoodite. I'm going to tell you just who is now said to have fled, who's about to flee, who's fled just months ago, and talk about poetic justice here to one of the ladies on The View. It's just so good. And also, something happened to Jay Leno in this huge fight you're going to want to see here. So we're going to take this quick break here. I'm going to get that queued up for you as this late night update continues, where we give the international scene right now is off the chain. So stand by. We'll be back after this message. All right, here's another one, and I'm not even telling Sean what this is. Let's see how he interprets it for the layman.
If a man could be two places at one time, will I be with you tomorrow and today, beside you, all the way? If the world should stop revolving, spinning slowly, down to die, I'd spend the end with you.
Sean, there's nothing more romantic, don't you think, than Telly Savalas, but specifically those type of words to romance a girl, right? Isn't this what women want to hear while a man smokes a cigarette?
Hopefully.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. Dean Ryan here with this very late night update as things are moving every hour. We are close to all-out nuke war. We have stated with you in the past that a lot of what we're seeing is a military drill called ZIL, Z-I-L. All the countries of worth are doing that and part of this military drill right now, so-called. But just to continue here now, a lot of things have happened. A lot of fleeing celebutons have I shared with you. If you recall, 4 years ago, you had the likes of people like Tom Hanks, the Obamas, and even Ellen DeGenerate herself with ankle bracelets, although they were as if they were on house arrest. Something happened, even David Spade and those types. But that's the kind of occultic enemies we're fighting here. Well, get this now. We just got word, not only did Jimmy Kimmel leave the United States to head for Canada, or he's planning on that, and some others as well, when he's not busy crying on television. Well, now I can share with you that Ellen DeGeneres has officially left the United States, citing election results as her reason. It says she is never coming back. Why, I'd feel bad for the poor country that has to accept her, but these people need to be intercepted at the airports they seem to be calling their destinations and their new homes. We know that Richard Gere also fled. He went to so-called Spain. I believe he brought his pet gerbil with him as well. But yeah, he's there as well. But now here's something interesting. In the information war, daytime television, as bad, as awful as it is geared towards the female audience, towards the estrogen, towards the female species. We all understand that. Well, now, in the appointee of Matt Gaetz, a lot of people are trying to stop that from happening. They're afraid of the consequences that seem to be coming down the pikeway. Well, now just two women who have accused Matt Gaetz. This is coming out now. Two women have now accused Matt Gaetz in the past of paying them for sexual liaisons, favors, support the release of their private testimony before the House Ethics Committee, but do not want to testify publicly, according to attorney Joel Leopard. Well, just hearing that, the bimbos at the spew, well, had a thing or two to say about it in a whopping turn of events in a hypocrisy level that is just next level. Check this out, because I don't think Matt Gaetz or this new DOJ coming into power is playing or messing around. This is some serious stuff. Check this out.
Would you nominate someone with allegations of child trafficking trafficking across state lines and having sex with a 17-year-old? My understanding, further on in the interview, they discussed the fact that once he finds out that she's 17, he stops having sex with her. Sonny, you have a legal note. I do have a legal note. Thank you, Whoopi. Matt Gaetz has long denied all allegations, calling the claims, quote, invented, and saying in a statement to ABC News that this false smear following a 3-year criminal investigation should be viewed with great skepticism. That DOJ investigation was closed with no charges being brought. We'll be right back.
They're coming after these women. And these women are really getting just unclothed, and the emperor has no clothes because they're all communists. That's what it's coming down to. And they're scared of retribution that is coming to the United States and throughout the world. Now, if you're not the celebrity who's actually fleeing right now, and you so happen to be domesticated here, and you happen to say that you're happy to see the results of the most recent election, well, Jay Leno did just that well over a week ago, and something happened to him. It doesn't make sense. Usually, when people fall off cliffs, you see scratches, cuts. This one's a little different. I could be wrong. You be the judge, but it's how the Illuminati works, and that's exactly who we're fighting worldwide. Check this out.
Earth happened to Jay Leno.
Oh, your poor face.
Look at my eye.
Oh my gosh.
Jay Leno is all bruised up. The left side of his face is black and blue. His eye is swollen shut. And look at his injured wrist.
I broke my wrist, lost the nail on the finger, and then I'm all black and blue.
The comedian says he fell down a 60-foot hill.
I said, well, the hill doesn't look that steep. Let me take it down! And then
You rolled down a hill?
Oh,
That's not true.
no, that's true.
Jay Leno says he was staying at a Hampton Inn about 30 miles outside of Pittsburgh on Saturday night when he wanted to have dinner at a local restaurant before his show. Instead of walking a mile and a half down the road, he decided to take a shortcut down the hill. Not a good idea. This is believed to be the steep incline he tumbled down.
Well, I hit a bunch of rocks. It was 60 feet.
Incredibly, the famous workaholic legend performed just 3 hours later without even taking a day off to nurse his injuries. Last night, he was back at it again, performing at a comedy show in Beverly Hills. This is just the latest mishap to afflict Leno in recent years. In November 2022, he was severely burned in a fire inside his garage.
I went to the Grossman Burn Center, and I got a new face. That's a brand new ear.
Leno needed skin grafts, and there he is undergoing hyperbaric therapy at the world-renowned Grossman Burn Center in Los Angeles. Tomorrow night, he'll perform at Comedy for a Cause in Hermosa Beach to raise money for the Burn Foundation, his thank you for saving his life.
Will you be able to see again?
It'll be fine. I'm not worried about it.
Very interesting. He endorsed the idea of a free and fair election. Days later, it appears, no, I'm sorry, not even the guy interviewing Jay Leno believed that. Those were not the injuries of someone who fell off a cliff. Those were the injuries of someone that got hit by like a cricket bat. And he said he broke his wrist and his fingers so much the nail came off. This guy got jumped. Like they tried to do the same thing to Alex Trebek of Jeopardy just a few years ago. You know, I had the pleasure of meeting Jay Leno, and he was one of the nicest people ever. He never had an agent. His contract was a handshake, and he went too far in a very, very dangerous time to go far right now in this world. As the entire Hollywood industrial complex is collapsing before our eyes. These people are fleeing. That's why there was a fire in the valley with the most expensive celebrity homes. We are raining in on these people. And then you got to ask yourself, why are certain submarines and ships of other countries strategically at entry ports in and out of the United States? Well, I have a good reason why. Makes sense to me. Well, on that note, we're going to end our late night update as we're getting more and more information. I will be back tomorrow night with some more just groundbreaking intel that you're only going to hear here at Real Deal Media. But I want to thank our very own Forseti for the intel, as Zelensky is looking for high crimes and misdemeanors, just like Benjamin Netanyahu. It is coming down to the last seconds, everybody, so prepare for war. So for our very own Forseti, I'm Dean Ryan saying thank you for sharing a bit of your late night with all of us here. I'll be back very soon tomorrow night as the world is changing, no matter how late it is. Stay tuned and always stay awake. Good night, everybody.